Welcome to Truckyoo Podcast. My name is Sebastian.
Jose, guys.
How's it going?
Pretty good.
So we just recorded. It was a couple of minutes. That's fine, but that was good. So today we're going to talk about transmissions, and it's going to be a basic episode around
Manufacturers, automatic manuals.
Kind of general knowledge around transmissions, so for guys to learn and get the basic understanding of
what's going on and what to look for. Well, whatever meets their needs.
Yeah. As far as what's going on in the shop, we just got a truck a minute ago towed in from a customer. Do you want to
SCR, right?
SCR issues? Yeah, I've got a text message at 1:30 a.m. Hey, Sebastian, what's going on? Yeah, so luckily he wasn't far. He brought it back to the shop. We're going to look at it, run some tests. We don't know what's happening yet, but it just derated the engine to 5 miles per hour. And this is the first time we're working on that truck. He has multiple trucks. We've never had that truck here in the shop yet, so we're going to kind of run through it and see what the problem is. With their other trucks, we had the similar issue with an SCR. And do you want to talk about what?
Yeah, that was a DF pump failure.
Yeah,
and also we had the DF dozer. It was clogged up in the dozing pipe.
Yeah, so that was we fixed that for them. It's
running good.
It's running good. No issues.
Yeah.
And, I'm suspecting pretty much the same thing since it's pretty cold right now outside.
Yeah, especially on a Volvo chassis and the way that's set up. And you mentioned it's a Volvo D13?
13, yeah.
Yeah, I can see that happening.
Yeah. So yeah, let's pull it in when we're done, and we're gonna start look at it. Okay, transmissions. I think the one that just came in is an I-shift.
Okay.
So,
yeah, common with the D13.
Yeah. So let's start with. What are the common transmission speeds? Like, let's talk about the manual transmission. We'll get to automatic transmissions, but the manual transmissions, what are the most common speeds and most common manufacturers? Let's start with speeds.
Speeds 9, 10, 13. They have some 15s and obviously the 18 speeds. 18
speeds and 8 speeds too.
8 speeds?
We have 8 speeds too. Mm-hmm.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You didn't know?
No,
So the 9 speeds, some of the 9 speeds and 10 speeds, we have a lot of 10 speeds. I have few 8 speeds. What is I would say the most common one is in the manual. I would say the 10 and the 13.
Yeah.
The 13 being the most optimal for different types of kind of terrain and performance, and optimal as far as work. Why if I was gonna drive now, when I did drive, that was one of my favorite transmissions to drive. 13. Yeah. 10 speed was okay, but I like the 13 speed a lot, and
more fuel efficient.
Yeah, with the double overdrive on it is definitely a fun, good transmission to drive. And then you see the simpler one, the 9 and 10 speeds that are just simpler and a lot also, how should I say this? They can take a lot more beating, right? Back in the day, now you have a lot of automated transmissions, but automated manual transmissions. But back in the day, fleets would spec the 10 speeds and the 9 speeds and the 8 speeds for just simplicity and how beefy they were. What's your experience around? I know we've been doing, but what do you think as far as like the 10 speeds, 13 speeds? All right, let's go to manufacturers first. So who's like the top manufacturers that are making? Eaton, Fuller.
Then we have Rockwell, Meritor, and then we have Allison, I-Shift.
So Volvo.
Volvo, yeah. And then they have some Mack transmissions on the older Macks. What else? What else are we missing here?
Detroit makes one.
Oh yeah, the Detroit DT12. Yeah, don't have any experience on those.
We have not seen a lot of those, although just again automated manual transmission. Yeah, no, nothing crazy. So those are the manufacturers that are Eaton Fuller is probably our are
Number one.
number one.
Yeah.
That we like. We had a significant number of those, and they're easy to fix.
Yeah.
Beefy as hell. Take a lot of beating, and they pretty.
From what I see, less oil leaks than the Rockwells, the Meritor, because Eaton likes to use gaskets. They have their own gaskets, and Rockwell, there is no gasket. It's all RTV silicone, so they have more oil leaks on them.
Yeah, and would you say the Meritors are more expensive to work on in maintenance and in using, or what's more expensive, do you think?
I'd say they're roughly around the same price range, except on the Meritors, there's more electrical issues.
Yeah.
With the shifter knob.
Yeah.
You do have some issues here and there. Fullers, it's all air operated, so really, it's you're troubleshooting, you're breaking it down easier. It's more simple.
Yeah. So we've seen obviously a lot more automatic transmissions now, and you will always have the two, fronts of, hey, I'm always manual, and some guys are well, I only want to drive automatic, and the automatic has two components to it. It's comfortable to drive, and I've driven both, so I see why guys, the hardcore guys will say, no, I always want to shift.
Yeah.
And then the guys that, there are two reasons. One is easier for trucking companies to hire, because the guy now doesn't have to shift and
exactly
know how to shift, which is great, because
less wear and tear on the trans.
Yeah, and that's how you used to, there's a lot of good drivers that drive automatic transmissions, great, but with manual transmission, you could tell by how somebody's shifting is. Do they know what they're doing, and how long they've been driving?
Gears.
Yeah, because if they can float and
if you can float it, you're good driver.
So part of our test drive with drivers and onboarding process is obviously a road test, and then when I used to do it, and now even my team when we're road testing, I just want to just pay attention to shifting.
Yeah.
And that tells a lot.
Yeah, definitely.
It really tells a lot. And if somebody knows how to float, it's a good.
It's good because you're saving a clutch wear.
Yeah. Which is the. You could, from my experience, I can tell you that. And having a fleet of trucks, drivers not necessarily always think about obviously the clutch and how they shift. They just slam the gears and they don't care. And I've seen that with my own experience, that we do see clutches going out a lot faster with some drivers. Some drivers, I've never had to look at a clutch or but at the same time, the automatic transmissions that we have. And majority of our fleet is manual, but the ones we do have, you want to tell what
we have? Those auto shifts,
the auto shift 10 speed.
Yeah.
And those are probably by far the most reliable.
Yeah, I would say so.
From our experience, I've had some I shifts. The I shifts, and again, with auto transmission, I would say what is the most important thing that we have to always think about?
Batteries, make sure they're really well cut, clean connections, and air supply.
Air supply.
Make sure there's no moisture going.
Yeah. So we've seen multiple issues with automatic transmissions
due to electrical.
Corroded batteries are not are going out.
Maintained.
Cables, harness is starting to deteriorate.
Yeah.
And then air supply, obviously. How many times am I going to even tell you, I had guys, the air isn't even built up, and they're
trying to put it in
drive and go. Like, no, just wait for the air
to build up,
and then go. So that's very important for automatic transmissions. And then, do you want to explain what a TCU is?
Yeah, it's a transmission control module, control unit.
Okay, so what does it do on the transmission?
Yeah, it's basically doing the driver's job.
Yeah.
It's shifting. It's controlling the XY shifter, and then if you have a ECA on it, which that would be the ultra shift, that's going to be controlling that output shaft signal. Basically, all the sensors on the transmission, it's going to be reporting that back to the vehicle ECU. Yeah.
So it's all electrical, right?
Yeah.
That's why it's such a key to have proper voltage and no issues with harness, because then one thing is it's going to throw off, and I've had that for sure as far as my experience, where harnesses would go bad or voltage was low, and then you're completely stuck on the side of the road. You have to tow the truck because nobody's going to come out, and the road service is not going to start diagnosing your
on the side of the road,
on the side of the road. And sometimes it's going to be very simple fix, usually harness, rubbing on somewhere.
Yeah.
The high mileage trucks, but that's definitely something that is, when you're buying a truck, is it, how does it, should I go with automatic transmission? Should I go with a manual? Like I've mentioned before, a lot of guys that started driving automatic transmissions don't really go back to manuals.
Yeah.
And as far as an owner operator, if you buy one and you just like the comfort, it's very hard to go back to manual, and
very easy to adapt to it. But if I were to purchase a truck, I would go with a manual all day.
Yeah. Why?
Easier to fix. Less maintenance.
So that's what I was
going to build up to.
It's like
pricey.
The maintenance on auto transmissions is definitely higher.
Yeah.
So that's something that you have to understand. And that's perfect. How
Not only that, but also, let's say you get stuck in the snow. It's easier to get out with the manual than with the automatic.
True, and it depends also on the operation you're doing, the type of work you're pulling. OTR, go with the you can automatic transmission, no problem. But
well, a lot of guys, we have one customer that he's like, oh, I love the I shift because of when I'm in traffic.
Yeah.
Which makes sense.
Well, in Chicago, obviously, when you're running around town, that's for sure. But I would say I like my experience driving automatics, especially in hilly areas. The I shift was really
amazing, right?
Good, because you could set the your J brake. You would be able to set it so it was just so much smooth. It would call your speed when you're set your cruise control based on your J brake, and it would engage in the. It skips gears, so like the auto eating the ultra shift, you go up every gear. You don't skip. With the I shift, you can skip. You can skip gears, and it's like what they've done right now on the newer models, how it disengages to save fuel, to let you coast.
Let you coast,
that's technology. That's obviously a lot more electronics and things that might go wrong. But I have driven a lot of automatic. Well, not a lot, but the major ones that are available, and I totally see how I could just do both. I see. I would want a 13-speed, but I would also want a reliable automatic ultra shift for if I'm around town a lot. And, with a manual, you're getting a lot more control, and again, the maintenance is a lot lower. So I mean, a lot lower cost. Rebuilding a manual transmission, right? Think about, we're bringing somebody in for 10-speed rebuild or 13-speed rebuild. What are the costs that we're looking at right now to kind of give guys some a general idea of a rebuild of a 10-speed?
10-speed reman you can roughly get for what, $2,500, roughly, more or less. And then
I would say a little more.
A little more, like what, 28?
Mm-hmm.
And then
depending obviously where, but the bulk, the range, and I would say it's around 3,000.
Yeah. How about a 13-speed? So obviously on the higher 38.
Yeah, a little more.
38.
Yeah, and then 138 plus 10 years. You gotta replace it. So it is costly to fix it. But then iShift
Also itself is really expensive.
it's not only an expensive transmission itself, it's expensive to rebuild.
Yeah.
And now you can rebuild them. Back in the day, you couldn't rebuild them.
No,
when
as
they
far
came
as
out.
no.
Yeah, and
And they were going for like what, roughly 15,000.
yeah, 15. The very beginnings were, 20K for brand new transmission. So the Ultra Shift, the Outer Shift Eaton is a lot cheaper. That's based on the 10-speed.
Yeah.
And so, you're adding the cost of the TCU and the
ECA.
XY shifter.
Well, on the Ultra Shift, ECA and XY shifter.
Yeah. So
Wiring harness, but it's nothing crazy. The ECA is how much did we get one roughly for?
the ECA one that we got, it was like $1,500.
$1,500.
Yeah.
XY shifter is roughly around $1,200, around there more or less.
Yeah. So we're throwing out numbers. We might be wrong, but I'm trying to pull off the top of my head when I'm looking at the inventory and what we're getting from our suppliers. But I picked up that one because remember we stayed late that night to get the truck out, and it was around that $1,500 mark, which he's been putting a lot of mileage on it. It's a team truck. I've never heard anything. It's working fine, but it was a costly bill because he was at the mileage that all those.
We put a clutch on that one as well.
Yeah. So it was a total bill for him because that was like 700,000 miles. On the truck. So total, I think he was at like clutch, labor,
and that clutch was expensive too.
Yeah. So it was pretty hefty bill for him. But I think those are definitely some things that are worth knowing. I think we could dig in maybe in some future episodes more about some technical stuff. I don't think right now. I think it would be beneficial just to kind of overall generally have
some information out there for the guys.
Yeah, to look out and make sure you're looking when you're buying a truck or searching for a used truck to buy, to look at the rear end ratios and the transmission that's in it, obviously, and just to have them have a good understanding of the rear end ratios when you're looking at, let's say we helped one of our listeners with buying a truck. What are the rear end ratios that you want to stick with? To make sure you're fuel efficient and because you depending on obviously what you're going to run, but let's say the most optimal ones.
355.
Yeah. So just make sure you look at the transmission, the rear end ratios. Just open the door, look at the VIN tag or all the information that's on the truck, try to get it, just so you're not buying some toll gearing for highway use, and then you're gonna
wonder why your RPMs are all over the place.
Yeah. So anything else you want to add to it?
Well, definitely check the oil level on it, and like if you're gonna do a first time buy the truck, check the oil level to see if there's any shavings on it. That's gonna give you a sign on right there how the transmission's doing. Oil leaks, if any, address them.
Yeah. Any common things that you come to your mind around leaks?
Well, XY shifters, that's a common issue on those. Automatics, ECAs also. Something else that I can think of is on the 10 speeds, the top cover, they like to go bad. Yeah. So you have to put new O-rings on the cylinder.
Yeah. The towers itself. I mean, we've had how many
shift tower bushings? I mean, that's a common issue as well.
When you're starting to hit your dashboard,
that's a sign that the shift tower bushing's bad.
Yeah, so that's gonna have to go. That's not that expensive to repair, but something to keep in mind if you're getting that a lot of play.
Yeah.
And the bushings are going out. That's a good one. We've had some. We've had quite a few of those that we swapped out, and and you think the transmission something's wrong, but then it's literally the tower bushing. But okay, I think we covered a lot. If leave some comments for us, questions under this episode, and we'll get back to you and help you with anything you guys need. I would say submit more questions for podcast ideas and topics. We've been interacting with you guys in the comment section. So if you have any ideas or comments, feedback, let us know. We appreciate that. Thank you for listening. Please subscribe if you haven't, and share with your friends. And drive safe, and talk to you soon.
Before I let you go, I just wanted you to visit our Instagram page. It's at truck.yoo at truck.yoo on Instagram, and give us some feedback. Tell us what would you like to hear about, and any ideas, any recommendations, comments are greatly appreciated. This episode was brought to you by Era Transport and Era Service out of Chicago. Guys, thank you very much. Share, subscribe, and drive safe. We'll talk to you soon.